What's up, guys? Today we're revisiting my LEGO Minecraft Ancient City mock as we bridge a gap between this structure right up here as well as this little lava area and then the campsite right over here. This is going to be a staircase kind of this thing right here, this giant model that I have built of the pathways, and the pathways kind of have this staircase part that leads down a little bit, and I'm going to attempt to recreate that and connect up these two modules to just create a more uniform build between the two. I've gone ahead and built up the base a little bit, and I have this model right here beside it, so I have a reference to the size and stuff. Having built up the base some, let's go ahead and tile it. I have some sections to add onto the build, just to add some more life and stuff to it and make the build seem more complete. And then on the backside there are two more sections of rundown and pillars that need to be added. And then I have built this little piece which has these blocks of wool which sit on top, and then moving the big build over right in here, you can see there are some studs on top, which is where this giant chunk of stuff can sit. And then next up, we're gonna put some lanterns on the build right there. Then on the backside, there is another little stud. I'll remove this, so that way I can push the lantern down in there, like that, and then flip back around. I also have to remove another section to put a lantern right here. And then there are two more spots for lanterns right on this front panel. And then for some additional details, we have a piece of fire that is spreading onto the wool. There is a clip right up here in top for this paintbrush piece, which is going to represent a torch. And then for one more block, we'll put the skulk piece right there. And then to help populate the city a little bit, we have a player skin right up there with a crossbow and then a totem of undying and then a fully decked out netherite armor, which is that Dragon Slayer skin from the small $20 Enter Dragon set. But yeah, taking a look at the actual build for this connecting piece between the city and that little ruin section with the lava pool, you can see that there are a ton of lanterns, which I really wanted to include on this on this build, because I just felt like they fit in so nice, and I haven't done enough of them on some of my previous builds. So then I also added a bunch more skulk, I felt like, in this bottom corner and on the front, because I also don't add enough skulk in some of my builds personally, I feel like. So I feel like this build definitely includes a lot of it. And I also made the city section feel a lot more run down and just kind of broken, staggering pieces, which I really like how I accomplished that with all these jut out pieces like this, and as well as this part over here. I just feel like the ancient city has a ton of those parts that jut out all over the place like that, and it's definitely something that I needed to include more in my build. But then taking a look, there is some cool destroyed piece right here that's just kind of a block down. Sometimes there's random holes in the city, which I feel like is a great thing for me to just have put in randomly. And I know that all these little 1x1 pieces instead of the 2x2s might look a little bit weird, but I feel like it looks good for a wool piece, as the wool blocks are a lot more textured than some of the stone stuff, with little curves and stuff to represent the wool. And so I definitely feel like the 1x1 tiles instead of the 2x2 tiles does work in this case. And then you can see down the hallway that there is an actual hallway and stuff, and then there one of these little intersections where you can cross between the paths does lay right there. There's a torch up here, which is a player-based torch, a player-placed torch to allow the characters to see, as well as my fully decked out character up here on the top with the crossbow, the totem of undying, and then fully decked out netherite armor. And then up at the very top also, there is some more of that wool pattern as well as some of these blocks of wall to like allow the player to walk quietly throughout the city, and they are meant to represent the blocks that are like left there from the ancient civilians that used to roam the city. Then right here I also just have a block of skulk, which I did a little bit different of a technique. I kind of built it into the wall using these like studs not on top technique pieces, and I feel like that does look pretty nice, although you can kind of see that one in the back. So eventually I think I might replace that with a gray one, as I do have some of those somewhere in my collection, and I feel like it would definitely improve the build. But then also I added a lot of these just like skulk spread stuff right here and over here, just because it also does give the build more texture. But then going ahead and taking a look at the full like ancient city that I have built so far, connecting up, you can connect this entire section over here into one, so that way you have these pathways and hallways connect to the ruined module in the center, and then the ruined module blends pretty nicely into this like pool of water and lava over here with all the skulk spread and stuff, and then you have the campsite all the way on this side. So kind of like taking the tripod off and getting in closer, so that way I can show a lot more detail and not be like refined by the tripod. You can see these hallways right in here, which do lead all the way over to the ruined part. And the ruined part, I feel like, does give an amazing connection to over here. Eventually, I might lower this wall back here, just so that way it does feel a bit more flowy. But that is going to be all, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.